members of a so-called religious cult with a leader they call Jesus, has had three of its followers arrested in the investigation of the murder of Sharon Tate and 6 others. Those arrested are 2 women and 1 man, and the Los Angeles police said they would ask murder indictments against several others. 5 women are being held as material witnesses.
You know, someone said that frickin' Panera's Pepsi's taste funny.
Better.
No, I mean...
What?
Got their hooks and took advantage of them. It's really sad.
That sounds like something that certain people in corporate America would do. But welcome everyone to the Average Intelligence Podcast. I am Jake, your normal host, and that over there, that's Justin, your guest host.
I'm like Eric, but less good.
Oh wow, we got a comment already. Steven is short. Oh hey Steven. Did you see Iran's tweet saying we've arrived? That shit was so tough but so disrespectful. No, I did not. Can you give me some context for that? Because given what I know about Iran, it's probably bullshit. But I digress.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about, well, the first thing you saw in that intro video. But first, I must implore you to please, and I give you permission to click the link, click away from this video, take a moment and vote for our friend Virus Box of Again and Forever.
Yeah.
Support his van and vote daily because he's trying to win a contest. It's going to get him 50 grand at a performance in New York City, hopefully before it becomes the People's Republic of New York.
I voted for it already today.
Wait, what?
The virus. I did my vote.
Oh,
today.
I was thinking New York. I'm like, you can't
No,
vote
I didn't
for
vote for the
you
socialist
can't vote
in
for
New York.
mayor.
Although
You can't vote for mayor.
I can't say I wouldn't have voted for the socialist in New York.
Which, yeah, by the way, you guys are about to see a doozy because Justin, as we've established on this show multiple times, you are more. I'm not going to say you're like a leftist, but maybe you are. I don't know, but you are more. You are more left than I, but
yeah, I consider myself center left.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Because I kind of discovered that like there are times where like I saw someone say it where it's like you don't want to like change things, you just want to be the guy in charge. And a lot of times leftists are like that where it's like you're saying the same shit they're saying. Actually that happened a lot with the right this week as well. You're saying a lot of the same shit and I just don't align with either of you.
Yeah, the last year has pretty much been the Republicans just holding up a mirror and being like, we're doing a lot of the same shit, albeit a different way. Some of it the exact same way. But the one that got me was Matt Walsh being like, Lindsey Graham is evil. And I was just like, gee, do you not hear yourself? You're saying the same shit the Democrats are. It's wild. It's wild. It's wild. It's been a wild week for me. What's that line from 8 Miles? You're saying the same shit that he said.
Yeah, you're saying the same shit they're saying. Yeah, he said, yeah. Like, pay attention, shithead.
But yes,
same shit he said.
I grant you permission to click that link and support our friend Virus Fox.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been supportive of us. We should support him.
Oh, Haley says, I'm bona fide straight down the middle, but also I'm not voting anymore due to the shit that's happening now. But that's why you must vote. Just vote
That's why you
party.
gotta vote.
Do what I should have done. Just vote third party. Eventually, like they keep digging the hole. Eventually, someone will be able to get a foothold. It's happened in this country before, more than once. The Whigs need to make a comeback.
Yeah.
The Whig Party, Nobel Peace
Big
Prize.
party.
That's true. I am. Yeah. So in case you didn't know, Justin, Pakistan either already has or will nominate Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
You know what though? I'm kind of surprised Donald Trump hasn't already won the Nobel Peace Prize, given the Abraham
Fair.
Accords. I was kind of
Fair.
surprised, considering Obama won it. He droned more people than any other president ever.
Also true. Also
So,
true.
I mean, if we're going based on those metrics, I think Trump deserves it more. Now, I'm not one of those, people that thinks Trump walks on water. But I mean,
Oh, you
I'll
don't
give
have
credit where
Trump
credit's.
ball chinitis? That's my new term for it. Charlie Kirk has a severe case of Trump ball chinitis. Also, ball chinitis is not exclusive to Trump,
No,
but
no.
it's a particular brand of ball chinitis. It's like an
There's
offset.
there is ironically a lot of people with AOC bulginitis.
That can happen. It can happen on the left too.
It can
That
happen
was the
on the
thing
ladies.
my thing I kind of epiphany I had is like both sides have become afraid to criticize their leaders, and
Yeah.
it's
Well,
agitating.
yeah. Well, the left, so at least in the United States, the left is more capitulating to the more radical. I'm not going to say because they're not. The Democrats are not full-blown communists yet, although I mean they're inching ever closer, it seems. But they are definitely moving left. I almost said left. They're moving lefter.
I mean, yeah,
But I mean progressivism. That's not really surprising though, because progressivism by
uh,
its nature is constantly like you
yeah,
solve one problem,
yeah,
there's another one, which is, I mean, it's in the name, progress. I mean, it's
yeah.
it's it's kind of there. Stephen, I've caused a lot of people to scratch their heads this week because the doomsday clock. We've been closer. We've been much closer.
I don't think I I have a lot of unpalatable opinions about the conflict in the Middle East. So, but um,
Well, let's go. Just we're
based
we're gonna piss someone off tonight. My
well,
goal is to piss off everyone.
okay, as an atheist, the notion that from my perspective, guys who believe in a magic sky dude, who fundamentally believe at its core the same thing, are gonna kill us all. At its core, they're all descendants of Abrahamic religion. They all believe in the same God.
Um, yeah, yes and no. I understand
I
what
know
you're
I
saying
know
though.
I'm being like reductive and generalistic
Yeah.
about it, but fundamentally,
Well, Justin, you have to ask yourself, what do you mean by believe?
I mean, I mean, they believe in the guy upstairs, and
Do
it's
do
the
you have nightmares about lobsters?
no, no. But so then they're all killing a lot of innocent people over like one very specific part of land. And I just that's like I just my sympathy I'm never loyal to government, I'm loyal to people. So I'm
Hmm.
sympathetic to the people caught in the middle. Like
Wait,
I my
I might be able to put this into a little bit. I might make this make sense for you a little bit more. So you have to. I'm not cutting you up here, but you're making the mistake that basically any atheist makes when they're talking about the conflict of the Middle East, and you are looking at the absurdity of it all. But you have to remember
well yeah.
these people, and I mean everyone in this equation, although it's arguable how much
Well, I said
religion.
it was unpalatable.
Well, but it's hard to say how much religiosity there is in the case of Israel as a country. Like, don't get me wrong, there are definitely religious elements, but
I
as a
think their leadership is.
as a state, I think they're certainly a secular state. They're not a
Yeah, I
theocratic
see. As an
state.
atheist, I think I don't believe in this because I don't believe in secularism. I don't really believe in a secular state. I guess not. I believe that in them as a nation, as a country. But I'm just like the fact that they're all based around one religion.
Well, but
As
here's
an
here's the
atheist,
thing,
I just
and this is where it gets a little more complex, or the water's already muddy. So in the case of Israel, you're not just talking about a religion, you are also talking about an ethnicity.
Yeah, that is
To be
also true.
you need not necessarily be religious to be Jewish, as we found out during the Holocaust. Plenty of non-religious, hell, atheistic Jews were,
Yeah,
and as is the case in Israel, there are, like I said, there are certainly religious Jews, but as far as how the state functions, it's a secular government with minority representation of the Arab population who may or may not be Muslim. I don't know what the demographic percentages are, but there is an Arab minority that serves in the government, in the Knesset, which is the Israeli like parliament or Congress or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know what the direct comparison
I-
would be. But
Um,
so in the case of Israel, the point I'm making, like, and even if you were talking about the former Iraq, for example, that's not really a theocracy. It's certainly a fascist regime, but it wasn't really a theocracy per se. Um,
yeah,
the thing about Iran, though, is it is absolutely, at least as far as the government goes, it is a revolutionary theocracy. There is a
yeah.
religious leader at the center. There is a council of religious leaders, and then there is the military is a religious revolution. So it's kind of unfair and again, I'm not cutting you up. I'm getting into the weeds on this one. It's kind of unfair to say that it's two religious entities at war with one another because,
I sort of more meant like ideologically, because the
well,
idea is that it's perceived as like it's Jews versus Muslims, and like
and again, to kind of paraphrase something Ben Shapiro said once, is it's not really a fair comparison because if I'm one of those people, and I know this is going to piss people off, I don't think Israel wants to go to war. There might be elements in the government
no.
that do. There might be
Well,
elements in the government that do. But as a nation, I don't think Israel wants to go to war. But I also think that if you're surrounded by a bunch of motherfuckers that want to kill you on a daily basis, then you're probably going to be a little jumpy.
I think like much like your government, there are people within the structure of that government who are a little, from my perspective, scary.
Sure.
In that they're the apocalyptic kind of they're willing to end it all because they believe in a next, and I don't want there's too another thing I've sort of discovered is there's too much memification of this. Like I've seen
That
too
is true.
many upsetting memes about World War III, where it's like we're so desensitized to it. I don't think the thing is though. There's also a lot of we always talk about the hyperbole of like there's so many people who are like this is going to cause World War III, and when you look into the conflict like at all, you're like no,
No, no,
probably not. No,
no. It's
it's not
it's
going to
not.
end in nuclear
Well,
holocaust
I
yet.
and I kind of chuckle at
Yet.
because I've seen videos online of people like comparing the Iranian military versus the U.S. military, and I'm just
It's
like,
not the same
I'm
thing.
like, fellas, like first of all, your numbers are they can't be right. I don't know what the numbers are, but based on what you're saying, Iran has, you can't be right. How do I know this? Because there were no Iranian planes in the air because
Well, I mean,
they were all
there's been a
gone.
lot of I think even what's her face, a puppy killer,
Oh yeah, Christy,
the
no.
killer of puppies. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
hang
yeah.
on, hang on.
She went
You'll
to
appreciate this reference. Christy, no. Oh yeah, the bitch.
the yeah, yeah, her. She said
Pekingese,
that
hyperactive, lost
Iran.
in the Highland Park area. She was half dead when I found her. Is that the tank?
That's the one. Um, she said that Iran had no nuclear capabilities, and then she had to walk it back because Trump wanted to
Well,
have
no.
it look
Here's the
like
thing. Nobody said they had a weapon yet. The point, and I'm not saying this is factual. I'm gonna just go ahead and throw this part out there. I don't fucking know, and neither do you, because we don't
no.
have access to the intelligence. So, like, and here's the thing: when it comes, I
I only
often,
know what gets leaked to the press. Sorry.
but even then, you have to take leaks with a grain of salt too, because a certain report might not be accurate. Like
Yeah.
this is a country where we don't necessarily have boots on the ground. I'm not saying the CIA doesn't have anybody over there. I don't know. That's kind of the point. But what I am saying is whenever it comes to stuff like this, I just kind of tend to think about it rationally. It's like, okay, let's really think about this. And this is what I often have conversations with my business partner about this. And I'm like, look, guys, the F-35 fighter is now at least what we see on the news is common knowledge. We know it exists, it's a thing. That means that it is not state of the art anymore. I said this about the B-2 bomber.
Sure.
Now, they still use them for sure.
Sure.
Like they still use, granted they're newer, but they still use F-16s in combat operations.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here's like the thing about the F-35, like I'm sorry, but if they put it in Top Gun Maverick, it's old news. It's probably 20 years old.
That's true.
I think you're freezing up
Yeah.
there a little bit, buddy. Oh,
Am
okay,
I?
there we go. You are a little bit, but I think we're good now. But anyway, the point that I'm making, so
Cool.
like if you recall, the B-2 bomber, I believe, became public knowledge in the early 90s, which means it was probably
So,
being used in a secret capacity, certainly in the 80s, probably in the late 70s, maybe, or at least as far as
yeah.
prototyping. Like that's the thing is they use them secretly until somebody spots them somewhere, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is our new state of the art fighter. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally don't have anything new in the works.
Oh
Totally,
yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
totally don't
It's,
have.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, totally don't have something
Top
new.
secret.
Yeah, and the thing of it is the F-35. This is the conversation I was having. Iran bought a shitload of planes in the I think it was the late 80s or early 90s. So they have antiquated aircraft compared to the modern United States military. And I
Mhm.
saw somebody online talking about like plane numbers and like dogfighting. I'm like, okay, here's the thing that you're not thinking about. Even if your numbers are accurate, which there's no way they can be, but let's just assume your numbers are accurate. The F-35 can target another aircraft from like 2 miles away. It doesn't even have to see it. There will be
Yeah.
no dogfighting. It's done.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you guys don't like the people that are commenting talking about this being a fair fight. It's like you guys don't get it. It's not a fair fight at all. Like it's not even close.
No.
And like kudos to our people in uniform and in the military and in the Canadian Armed Forces as well, because they often go unsung. But the Canadian military, don't sleep on them either. They do some pretty
Yeah. I
badass
mean,
shit
yeah. I mean, it sort of seems like they're probably going to sleep on you guys, but
until
that
it's
was
too
it.
late.
That was a political joke. No, yeah, they've. I think our armed forces have signaled that they're not going to help you guys fight Iran. Although it seems
That's
like you
okay.
guys aren't going to fight Iran. Week
No,
to
and
week,
that's
it
yeah, and that's anybody who was
changes
saying
moment
this
to
is
moment.
well, and that was the other question. So, and this is going to be the controversial thing, and I have to preface with I don't want a war. I don't think we should go to war unless there's an asterisk there. Because if somebody starts doing some shit, like
Yeah,
once a line is crossed, somebody deserves to be fucked up. So, and I don't casually say that because if probably the main reason I can never be president is because I don't think I could bring myself to send other people to war. I don't think I could do it.
no, yeah, no,
But
no, no way.
sometimes it would be necessary, and that's an impossible choice. And sort of in defense of Donald Trump here. So let's say that he hadn't ordered those strikes, and we don't know what's going to happen because nobody can see the future. But let's just say hypothetically, Trump did not send those planes into the bombing runs in Iran, and let's just say in this what I forgot the word, this example because I can't remember the hypothetical.
Hypothetical?
Hypothetical, that's the word. That's the word. Let's just say in this hypothetical that Iran did have capability to create a nuclear weapon, and let's say that they did. All of you fuckers that are tearing Trump a new one now would be like, why didn't he do anything? He's the president. He should have bombed them.
True, but a lot of the intelligence coming out of Iran is suggesting that it was not necessary and it did not do. I think the Iranian officials today, I saw that they said that it didn't do as much damage as Trump is saying it did.
Because
Um,
because the nation state of Iran, the government of Iran is a trustworthy source.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
You're talking
That's
about
just what I said.
you're talking about a regime that when they sent those missiles to Qatar on their state-run media, they said that they retaliated against the United States and neglected to mention the part where they called ahead and said what they were going to do.
I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. To be fair, also, I mean, you got President Twitter citing everything Donald Trump.
No,
Like that just
It's President Truth Social now.
President Truth Social. Like I saw one person like, can we stop? Can we stop? Can we stop? Can we just stop having a president who announces everything on social media? It's awful and it's hellish.
It really is, but you know what? I don't, and this is unfortunate. I don't think we can go back because I think
I
every subsequent president will now probably not to. Actually, I take that back. Yeah, I think we can go back, but I
I don't think
guarantee
we're gonna
you,
get midnight shit toilet truths or like stream of consciousness. Like my favorite. There's so many meme responsive memes I've seen, but my favorites are the ones where, do you think Iran's reading his? Did he think that Iran's
well, that's
reading
just it.
his truth socials?
Iran is reading them. That's the thing.
Are
Iran is
they?
yes, because they're reporting it on their state-run media. Which
Oh, fair enough.
I saw an article in the Tehran Times, how Yemen was joining the war against Israel. Again, they neglected to mention that the official government of Yemen is doing no such thing. They're talking about the Houthis, who say that they run Yemen, but they don't, and are not recognized by anyone other than Iran and its terrorist proxies as running Yemen. So, um, scoreboard. But yeah, their official state-run media says that Yemen has joined the war, and I'm just like, all right,
Hmm.
because that worked out well for them when they blockaded the Red Sea and then died. Because people forget
Hmm.
that too. Remember when Trump sent missions to the Red Sea to attack the Houthis? And then everybody was like, "Oh my God, we're going to be in World War III." And then the only thing that happened was the shipping lanes got better because I think
Yeah,
the
well, yeah.
Houthis
There's a
still
lot of
have a presence there. But
that's the thing with this conflict. There's a lot of like people like, oh, it's this going to be this big thing, but I think like Russia and China have really said they don't have. Well, Russia's already in a war, and China has really expressed no interest in joining up in this. So
no, well,
yeah, it'll just be a. Seems like it's just going to be a bunch of proxy wars again in the Middle
well,
East.
I still, I don't think so. I think this will give way because here's the thing that you have to at least consider, right? Okay. And granted, this is only my perspective, but I think I'm right. So I always forget. I think Bahrain, three countries signed the Abraham Accords with Israel already. So they have relations with that's Bahrain, Oman, and was it Jordan? I can't remember. Hang on, I gotta look this up just because I don't want to talk out my ass. I always forget the three. I know Bahrain's one of them. Do 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 do. Come on.
Jordan sounds like that's in that
I
area. That
think.
sounds right.
Oh, okay. It was. Oh, okay. There were four. I'm sorry. Uh, four countries that currently have the Abraham Accords signed with Israel are the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan.
Oh,
So
okay.
there, Saudi Arabia was a very close to signing, which would have been huge. Egypt was in talks. I don't remember where they were at, but then something I forget what happened. Oh, October 7th happened. Never mind. Yeah, October 7th happened, and then the election happened. But so we were on path to somewhat normalcy, or maybe it wasn't October 7th. I'm trying to remember. But anyway, the point is that Saudi was at the table. It seemed like there was nothing that was going to stop this. And it's worth noting that when Israel sent those, bombing runs to Iran, they went through Jordanian and Saudi airspace. and they were let in. Like
Fair
they weren't.
enough.
So now, even though they all tweeted, that they were gonna support their Muslim brothers in Iran, they ain't gonna do fuck all because Iran's as big of a thorn in their side. Not as big as it
Yeah.
is in Israel, but I mean, like the Saudis don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
I mean, I'm of a, I don't think really anyone should have nuclear weapons
I
kind
mean,
of person.
I
So
agree, but I have to be the Hobbesian guy here. If they exist, you want the good guys to have them so that the bad
true.
guys don't think they can get away with eviscerating people. And that's somebody I saw some dumb, and I'm gonna call them this. I saw one dumb motherfucker on the internet say like, well, the United States and Israel have nuclear weapons, so Iran should have nuclear. No, Case in
No.
point, case in point, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Israel, a lot of countries have nuclear weapons and they don't fucking use them. Those are the
Yeah.
countries that you want to, and I feel like the United States does not get enough credit. After we dropped 2 bombs, we were the only ones that had the weapon for a while, and we never fucking used it again.
No.
Not
No. No,
once.
you didn't.
Okay?
No. Mostly
And
because
two,
the first time was really, really bad. Probably.
I mean, kind of the point,
Yeah.
but I mean, honestly,
I went, oh, it's so bad. We should never do that again.
essentially that's essentially what happened. Is we were the Americans at the time were like, oh fuck, that was way worse than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
We should probably never fucking do that again.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, if World War III happened, all the people who would likely survive don't have any life skills. So, like, you know, I just don't feel like Elon Musk knows how to use a hammer. I feel like he pays a guy to use the hammer for him.
Oh, I bet he can use a hammer.
Fair.
We'll see. We'll
And
see. We should ask
he's
him.
one of the ones.
We should
We should
ask him.
call him up. Hey, Elon.
Now Zuckerberg. I don't think Zuckerberg could use a hammer, but I may color me surprised. He might.
Now that you and Trump are broken up, and you're trying to suck up to the left
Oh,
again.
speaking of memes, those were those were gold.
Oh,
The
it
the
was so
breakup.
messy. It was
Oh,
delightful.
that was good. As somebody who, is not like I mean, it depends on the issue. Sometimes I am militantly anti what Donald Trump is doing, but as somebody who's not like 100% if Trump does or says anything, it's automatically bad. That was delightful. That was so
No,
funny.
man. Yeah, man. I'm in a place of like, yeah, there's so many idiotic Joe Biden supporters who like quadruple down instead of being like, no, it's cool to criticize your leaders. In fact, actually, a really good example of that was, and I mean, he was doing it because he's racist, but or he's prejudiced at the very least. But when Donald Trump was like, we shouldn't deport everybody. What about the people who wash our cars and do our maids and work in our hotels? And like all half of MAGA went, whoa, no, they all gotta go, even the. And it took about like a couple of days before they were back to be like, no, but Donald Trump is right though. And I was just like, no, you should be able to criticize him and be like, no, I want this to be a pure white ethno state. Like you should feel free. No, I'm sorry, no, I shouldn't say that. That's bad. I'll get clipped out of context.
But I mean, you're not wrong because they should just come out. But that's the crazy thing to me is like I'm with you. It's like, hey, if you feel that way, at least have the balls to say it so that we know you're a
Right?
dick, you know? But like, and I just wish some of these people would just admit it. Just be like, yeah, I don't like brown people. Like
Right?
I'm
Right?
not saying the entire apparatus is racist, but there are certainly elements
Oh,
in it that are like,
there are people. There are people who are, yeah.
yeah, they're people that, have never eaten a taco because if they had, they'd be like, you know what? If nothing
Yeah.
else, we can't deport tacos because tacos
I
are the
just
fucking shit.
anyone who ever I always find that anyone who ever's ever shit on Mexico has never actually been to Mexico because like
True.
they're good people down there.
I mean, there's like every country, there's some problematic elements, but yeah,
I mean,
generally speaking,
yeah,
yeah,
the
I've
quite
never had,
often the good stuff sifts to the top,
generally speaking,
generally speaking.
generally speaking,
But I mean,
speaking of the good stuff sifting to the top, we have a sponsor, a very special sponsor. So before I play their video, Justin, would you like to
Yes.
educate everyone a little bit?
Yes. Well, yes. My friend, she works for a organization called Wild Education, and they are a conservationist group. Who, I mean, the video is going to explain it much better than I'm about to. But they have they go to schools and they teach education about lizards and like like the less cuddly animals. They have a place that they take care of them. They go to schools, and they need to move because of various rezoning things up in Canada. They need to move, and they have a Kickstarter. My friend, she's the one who goes out to schools and teaches the kids. She was really cool about inviting me out there one day, and yeah, it's the first time I ever got to hold a snake. It was really
Oh,
sweet.
that's wild the first time, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
anyway,
yeah. It's why now whenever I watch movies and I see a snake and it's just clearly a chill snake that they're pretending is scary, I'm like, yeah, snakes aren't that scary as long as you're
yeah, not
relaxed.
generally. Yeah, as long as it's full, you're generally
Yeah,
good.
or
But
you don't smell like food.
yeah, the good thing about reptiles is they don't eat very often. So,
No,
but
no.
here
Yeah,
is
my
the
friend said the one time she ever got bitten was when she smelled like food. It was the only time she ever
oh
got bit.
yeah,
But anyway,
I can see that if I can. So this is the wow, Wild Education's informational video. Second link in the description is the GoFundMe link where you can donate. But here is a word from them.
In Langley, British Columbia, lives one of Western Canada's best kept secrets. We are Wild Education, Western Canada's largest reptile and small exotic animal rescue. And right now, we're launching our most urgent fundraiser ever.
Less than 1 year ago, we opened the doors to our brand new education center, a space we poured all of our savings into building. But due to changes in land development, we found out we only have 9 months to find a new place and move out. This will be the third time in 5 years we've been forced to relocate, and this time we simply don't have the funds to do it again.
Unlike traditional rescues with puppies and kittens, reptiles don't get the same level of support. But our animals need it just as much because they don't have anywhere else to go. That's why we're asking for your help now.
Last year alone, we took in 153 animals, including reptiles, amphibians, and furry exotics like chinchillas, sugar gliders, ferrets, and even hedgehogs. Many came to us sick, injured, abandoned, or surrendered by families who could no longer care for them due to the rising cost of living.
One of those animals was Gary, a serval who couldn't find a home anywhere else in BC after his family broke apart. No one else could take him in, but we did. Because oftentimes we are the last resort.
We are currently also home to 12 rescued sulcata tortoises, some weighing over 120 pounds. But we know more will come in this year, who need lots of space, warmth, and lifelong care. Wild Education isn't just a rescue, it's a mission. Our entire rescue is funded by our education program. This program travels to schools and other events to help teach about the natural history, conservation, and responsible ownership of these amazing animals. We give people the knowledge to hopefully prevent animals from ending up in our rescue in the first place.
But now, more than ever, the future of Wild Education, its current animals, its future animals depends on your support. We know it's a lot, but we're trying to raise $1 million to buy a permanent property. A forever home where we'll never have to move again, and where our animals can finally be safe for good.
So if you've ever wanted to make a big difference in the life of something a little different, this is your moment. Please visit www.wildeducation.ca to donate or click on the GoFundMe link. We need your help to save Wild Education so we can keep saving them.
feel them breathing, and they're just warm.
Yeah. That did
It's
the
just like a
kick-ass logo too. But that is Wild
pure
Education.
muscle.
Like once again, I give you permission to click away, click the second link in the description, and donate to their cause. They need to move.
It's a good cause.
They got to move, and you got to represent the reptiles because they get a lot of hate. I'm gonna make sure I turn
Yeah,
your
they
audio
do.
back on. Yeah.
They may not be as cute and cuddly as your typical, but they are chill. Like when I went to when my friend was cool enough to show us the place. Oh, what is it? I forget what the name of it is, but they're like a big lizard. They got like the bulgy cheeks.
Iguanas,
Um, Not iguanas.
skinks, monitors.
Not, oh, not coming to me. But
Well,
yeah,
it's
they're like a
certainly
big lizard.
okay.
They're like the size of a small dog, and they got really puffy kind of cheeks, and they're really chill. They'll just sit in your lap. I've seen videos of them. They're like dogs. They run up to you like dogs, like a
Yeah,
small dog. But yeah, she just put it in my lap, and he just chilled and fell asleep. It was really cool.
very cool. But yes, support them because even if we can't agree on politics, we can't agree that animals deserve the help.
Yeah,
It's, I mean,
they in particular. Sorry,
no,
I
you're
was gonna
good.
say that they in particular their money they rescue people who are too dumb or who are dumb enough to get pets that they shouldn't have, and they rescue them from them. So even not for that, it's a really worthy cause for that because yeah, all those guys get euthanized and it's not cool.
Yeah, no, yeah. I was gonna say everybody supports animals except Christy Nome, which actually I remember a joke that you said on a podcast, and it came back into my mind. I'm like, that was so funny when you were talking about the secret to her autobiography, and the goat gets it too.
The goat gets it too. Yeah. It was really I saw she got sick and went to the hospital. There were so many good memes that were like, and what else was I doing today?
Well, I mean, my first thing would be like, well, she's clearly bad at being a human because she's sick, so you better take her out back,
Right?
to the
Ah,
gravel
looks like
pit.
gotta take her out back. Put her down like old Yeller. Don't actually put her down
No,
like
just that we're
old
not
Yeller.
actually. It's a joke, but she did actually like. I'm not going to get into it. If you want to know, if you don't know what we're talking about, just Google Christy Nome and her dog. You'll.
She's a bad person. I mean, and none of them are great. I just I just like get tired of watching them just look dumb in front of those committees. Like there's never ending clips of them looking dumb in front of committees.
Yeah,
Ugh.
but speaking of looking dumb in front of committees, did you see? You probably didn't because you don't live here. But did you see that no Democrats showed up to the hearing talking about basically the media colluding with the Democratic Party to cover up Joe Biden's inability to, you know, be a human?
Function? No,
Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah, not a single Democrat showed up, which I'm
But
kind
I
of like,
mean,
so that tells me that this hearing is pointless. So we're
yeah.
just we're
I mean,
just
like,
wasting time.
of course you are. I mean, that sounds an awful lot. Your toothless congressional side of your government not willing to do anything
No,
useful.
there's an episode of Third Rock from the Sun where Dick gets in trouble and has to go before the university disciplinary board. And after they do like a whole, not a trial, but a hearing, they do a whole hearing and people testify and all that. He's found, I guess, guilty. I think they use the word guilty, even though that's not technically correct. But they say he's guilty. And he was like, well, what's going to happen? It's like, you're going to get a letter of reprimand.
Yeah.
That's it.
Slap
What if
on
I,
the
and
wrist.
he's like, then what if I do it again? You will get a second letter of reprimand. What about after that? You will be suspended with pay? Yes.
I mean, I mean, the thing about Joe Biden is it kind of became. I think people decided they didn't want to kick him when they discovered he had cancer.
Well, but you see, here's the problem I have with that is I'm not meaning to put on a tinfoil hat here, but like they had to know. They
Oh, they know that he
had to
had
know.
cancer for sure. Knew he
Yeah.
had cancer.
So why did they let him run? I'll tell you why they let
I've
him run.
seen.
Because
Like,
they wanted Kamala Harris in the White House, but they knew that she couldn't win an election on her own based upon the fact that she was the first to drop out of the Democratic primary. Whatever you feel about Kamala Harris, that's irrelevant. But you have to admit, she cannot run a campaign to save her life. She has failed twice.
they said she was going to run for governor, and I was like,
Yeah.
why?
Well, so she can lose that too.
Yeah. Why? Yeah,
Well, now they're talking about her. They're talking about her running for president again, and I'm just like, really?
no. The only ticket that's worse than that is Bernie and our AOC. Everyone keeps floating that. I'm like, no, no,
Here's the thing.
no.
It's
The
it's gonna
Democrat who's
be
gonna win is Gavin Newsom. It's gonna be President Gavin Newsom in 4 years. Guarantee you.
probably. I'm. But see, here's the thing. At least I don't particularly like Gavin Newsom, but I will admit two things. One, he's a lot smarter than the other people in his party because right after Trump won, like Gavin Newsom started a podcast just so he could appear more moderate.
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
look at who he's had on his podcast. He had Charlie
I
Kirk on his
just
podcast. He had who he's had a bunch of people on his podcast to make him appear like a more moderate
look more reasonable.
well, like a Clintonian style Democrat, which I've said for a long time. That's what your mainline party needs to be if you're a Democrat, because like the reason that the Democrats lost in 2024 to Donald Trump, well, it was twofold. One was because of the Joe Biden debacle, but the other thing was you guys just went too far. You went too far. A lot of people were on your side or indifferent, but then you just went too far on a lot of
think
things.
I think you guys are like us, and you're center left, but like somehow you got weaseled into being like more far right than you are. Like I just like I'm a firm believer that this whatever the MAGA nonsense that is impacting your country, I just don't see that as you guys. I really don't.
Not as the
At least certainly
majority,
not the
but
nuttier stuff, not like Stephen Miller, not that shit.
don't get me started on that fucking guy. But um like they keep saying that when Trump won, they said it was a mandate. It was a mandate, but not for this. It was a mandate to because I said this is what I was afraid of was I was afraid that because the pendulum swung so far to the left under Biden that it was going to swing like equally far to the right, and it seems to be doing that except for the fact that a lot of the stuff is getting stopped by the courts, which is good. But
Yeah.
like they're certainly trying to swing the pendulum that way, and a lot of stuff got stopped under the Biden administration by the courts too. I don't want to make it seem like, but I certainly do think there's more court activity against the Trump administration. But frankly, is because
They're doing more illegal
I
shit.
was going to say they're trying to do a lot more stupid shit. That's
They're
just
doing a lot
like,
of illegal shit.
well, like okay, so I'll use the student loan example under Biden. Like Biden lost this case, by the way. What was there's some like the what was it the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, or something to that effect. They were trying to use that to do student loan forgiveness, and the Supreme Court said no, you can't do that, it's unconstitutional. And then they tried it one other way, and then they said no again. They're like, fine, I guess you're not getting student loan forgiveness, and then that was it. And it's like I feel like that's a reasonable fight. Like
Yeah.
you lost twice. Okay, okay. Like we're not gonna win this one, guys. Sorry, you know.
Yeah, that's not how
But
Trump
like,
works.
but like Trump's like, I'm gonna rewrite the Constitution even though it says I can't because I'm Trump and I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's like,
There's so much that he does that, like, can you imagine if in the 1990s a president said of a conflict in the Middle East, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
so I
Like the
actually agree.
conservative pearl clutching evangelicals would have lost their minds.
This is true. I actually agree with that sentiment, though. Honestly,
I don't disagree. I just thought it was wild. I'm like, no other president can get. He could get away with. I'm pretty sure he could like stand on Main Street and shoot someone. And like when he said that, I'm pretty sure he was not lying. Like he could do
no, there are
anything, and
certainly
his
some
base would
people
forgive it.
that's true. But I will say, and I have to say this because I said it on the podcast, and I acknowledged it when Dan Crenshaw said a big boy word on January 6th, ironically, and I said I will always respect a politician that will in public speak like an adult when it's appropriate. And I think Trump's F bomb was appropriate. So
I mean, yeah, there used to be a decorum to being president that is long since died.
can you spell big ego Trump thinking he can write the Constitution because he's the president. Well, so I've said this for a long time. I like, don't get me wrong, it's Trump's fault, but I think the biggest problem with Trump is he has and the Democrats are partially to blame for this if I'm right. So
Surround himself with demagogues?
No. Here's the thing. Trump over the years has surrounded himself with people who either intentionally misinterpret the Constitution or are just that stupid. Sometimes I can't tell. And
Depends on who you're talking about.
at first it was Steve Bannon, and now it's the fucking what's
Steve Bannon, it's on purpose. Stephen Miller, it's on purpose as well. He hates the Constitution openly.
yeah, but like there are some of his lawyers who I think are just stupid, right? But like I'll put it this way: their reading of the Constitution is dubious at best.
Yeah.
So see the case of Trump trying to supersede the 14th Amendment.
My theory is he doesn't come up with this shit on his own.
He doesn't.
He's told it, and he just goes with it.
But okay, so I think the same thing. But here's my point. So Trump had these people around him in his first term, and he listened a lot of the time, but sometimes he was kind of like, that seems a little or like there are other people telling me differently. But then after they came after him after 2020 and all the court cases and blah, 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 this is the same group of people that was around him and his legal team were advising him, and he got off on virtually everything except for the felony counts in New York, which were bullshit. But everything else he got. So when they say that those charges were bullshit, I agree with them because they changed the law to make it apply to Trump, and there was no victim in the alleged crime. So that one does certainly seem like lawfare to me, but that's not what I'm getting at. So, but anyway, Trump gets off like 95% scot-free, and in his mind, these people were right. So now he's listening to these fucking morons as if they're like constitutional scholars when like one of them, I keep going back to the 14th Amendment. One of them is saying that's not what the 14th Amendment actually says. Really? Because like 120 years of Supreme Court precedent says you're a fucking idiot.
Right?
Like, not to mention just the basics of the English language say that you're a fucking moron.
Right? Trump is so the thing with Trump is he makes people crazy on both sides. He makes people crazy. Like he makes people on the left into these hyper. I watched I think I shared it on Facebook, but I watched a really good video about this where it's like, this energy that surrounds him like just makes people crazy and weird. Like a lot of these guys who he's surrounded by, I don't understand how they got into a position of power because what they say is so ridiculous and absurd a lot of times where you're like my personal favorite is, I know you're not like super socialist, but like they were calling the mayor in New York a socialist anarchist, which like that got me so bad. I was like,
because that's an oxymoron.
That's an oxymoron, exactly. That doesn't make any sense.
It's kind of like in the Jordan Peterson video I did last week where, oh boy, am I getting the hate on that, but I knew it was coming.
They came for you.
Well, but here's the thing.
Tagged in it for some reason.
I think that there's only one person that actually watched the video that commented. And it's because...
Did I not tell you? Did I not tell you?
Oh, no, it's very clear because it's like, okay,
it happens all the time.
Did you watch the video? But, wow, totally lost it. Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, okay, I remember. So, but Trump derangement syndrome is real, but just like diabetes, there are two types. There's Trump derangement syndrome type 1, which is what you see on the left and Democrats. But then there's also Trump derangement syndrome type 2, which affects the right. And these are the people that are like, he can do anything and I will follow him.
Right? Yeah. So otherwise, that's what I would call Trump Bolshinitis. For Charlie Kirk, say one critical thing about Donald Trump. I'm going to look at the camera right now. Charlie Kirk, say one critical thing. Just one critical thing about Donald Trump. I am begging you. I am begging you. Like, it's okay to criticize your leaders, guys. It's
Well,
okay.
are you enjoying the right splintering
Oh my God, they're
after
absolutely
Iran?
fighting each other. It's for me as a person who is center left, objectively hilarious. So
It's it
watching
it's
Tucker
pretty
Carlson
funny.
and Ted Cruz fighting might have been the funniest thing I've ever seen. Like, it's one of the
But
funniest things I've ever seen, certainly.
that really like Ted Cruz, bro. Like you really did not
Oh,
help yourself in that interview.
del,
But
del, delightful,
you
delightful.
would you
But
would have
then also
actually
like, oh, I was gonna say that, but then also like the left, you can't like immediately forgive people who suck just because they had one moment of not sucking. Like he, oh yeah, he finally admitted that Fox News is propaganda that radicalizes your grandparents. Great, but you were the propaganda that radicalized my grandparents, or in my case, my parents. Like you did that. So the fact that you're admitting it now doesn't change the fact that you participated in that. That's sort of like how people are like, Candace Owens is, man, she's sure going on a redemption tour. No, she still said awful shit. Like, just because she's on our side now in this moment doesn't really change what she said. Like, she
well
still
no,
did not great.
she's not really changed her view, but she just so happens to be where certain people on the left are right now when it comes to Iran. And I will tell you one thing, because I'm not saying that Israel's perfect. However, at least from my point of view,
The Jedi
like
are evil?
no, I'm kind of alarmed by the number of people that are like posting things like we stand with Iran, and they're
Uh,
unironically, and I'm like, "Mm, do you know? Like, do
I,
you know?
I, I, this is where my filthy centrism will come out. I don't really I'm not Jewish or Muslim. I don't feel a specific. I don't want to say loyalty because that, but I don't.
It's
I
not.
observe. I
Yeah,
observe criticism of both sides, is what I would say.
I understand that, but here, and this is the point that I keep making, which to quote Ben Shapiro, who is a little biased, but he, I think this is worth saying on his show. It was yesterday or today, I can't remember. He did say he gave Israel some shit for not for basically breaking the ceasefire, which actually I think if I read correctly hadn't actually gone into effect yet, but it was like going to go really, really soon. And he was like, Donald Trump told you to fucking cut it out and you need to cut it out. So I'm like, oh, that actually surprised me a little bit. Because
Yeah,
Ben is
criticism is okay, guys.
yeah,
It's okay to be critical of things.
Ben has been pretty critically, and I understand why. He is Jewish after all. He has family in Israel. I get it,
Yeah,
but he can criticize when they do bad. But
yeah.
to quote Ben Shapiro, here's the difference, which he was talking about Hamas, but I think Iran would it would be the same thing. So if Israel put down all their weapons, there would be a second Holocaust. If Hamas put down all their weapons, there would be peace in Israel.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I mean, just take the individual names of countries out of the equation. If country A put down all their weapons and they were annihilated, but if country B put down all their weapons, there would be a peace deal. Oh, he said there would be a Palestinian state. That's what he said. Um, so again, country A puts down all the weapons, they all die. Country B puts down their weapons, there's peace. Which country are you going for? Just in a mental exercise, like
I mean, that's a situation. I mean, the one that yields peace, presumably.
yeah. Now, and that's
The one
not
that where innocent people stop dying.
yeah. That's
That's
generally
what I want.
well. It's and again, you can boil this down to Ukraine. If you're watching this and you're more of a like support Ukraine, if Russia put down all their weapons, there would be peace in Ukraine. If Ukraine put down all their weapons, then there would be no more Ukraine. So same thing. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you can have
true.
opinions on funny. Like, it's not that black and white. I get it, but at the same time, it's a little bit less gray than some people are making it out to be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how nothing's black. If people want to binary everything. You gotta realize world's not black and white. All those shitty shades of gray.
Yeah, for sure. but sometimes the gray's a little bit darker.
Sometimes. Yeah,
Sometimes,
sometimes.
sometimes,
Sometimes.
sometimes,
But
occasionally.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've sort of it's another sort of epiphany I've had where I sort of am in the like all clubs are kind of not like identifying yourself as a identify. Like, I think Raven Simone said it, which is like I identify myself as a person first. That's kind of how I tend to operate, or at least I've started to.
Yeah.
I'm a
Oh, for sure.
person first,
Well, because here's the thing. Like right now, I'm pretty. I hate to say
but
this
that's
because it
easy for
sounds.
me to say.
Well, no, I mean, but it's true because like I'm gonna kind of like dig into this, right? Is in terms of what's going on now, I'm like pretty solidly intellectually on Israel's side, just mentally. However, if things came to light that showed a significantly shittier side, then I would be less supportive. But I just
Yeah.
look at this as is because we did an episode shortly after October 7th where I was like, look, I understand that there's history here. That's undeniable. But only a few days ago, one part of this conflict came over and killed 1,200 innocent people, some of whom were babies. All right?
Mm.
And before that, other than the random barrage of rockets that they had a missile defense system so they wouldn't have to do military action, by the way, it was relatively peaceful. So, yeah, like,
I'm not. I'm not. I'm only kind of just learning the history of the conflict over there. Is how I would put it. I'm
well,
not.
like most things, I blame England because they started all this bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's
So
just like England.
it's fucking England's fault.
Blame the English.
I
I
mean, I
mean,
generally do.
I mean, them and the French. But to be fair, I can't blame the English. I have a king. I watched a really funny video of this girl who moved to England, and she was tickled by the fact that she had to swear allegiance to the king
Did she
as part
really?
of the
Well,
immigration
wait,
process.
don't you have to in the Commonwealth though? Like,
I have no idea. I'm a born citizen.
aren't you technically a subject?
Yeah, technically, yeah,
Oh, so you
yeah.
could William Wallace this shit. So you could be like, never in my life
Theoretically,
did I swear allegiance to him.
although allegedly the big C is getting him, so I don't. I just have to wait.
The big something's good. I mean, he wasn't exactly a spring chicken when he took the throne.
No, no. Apparently, he got diagnosed with I can't remember what kind, lung cancer, like some kind of
So
inoperable late
who's
stage
next?
cancer.
Who's next in line? Is it William?
I believe it's William. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie here. And to be fair, this is coming from someone who just doesn't give a fuck about the British royal family.
No, I'm Canadian and I don't.
Yeah, I think William would be good for their image as a king.
He's not the one that everyone hates. That's Harry. Yeah, William's the one that
Yeah,
they like. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he'll probably he would do a good job, and he's young, so he would stick with it for a while. He's their chance at having another Queen Elizabeth, but like every year, their
but then
relevancy slips away more and more.
but like Kate Middleton's well, as far as I know, Kate Middleton is liked reasonably for a monarch. So
Kate Middleton is sorry. I was
yeah,
like, no,
so
she isn't. No, that's the other
no,
one.
that's Meghan Markle. She's the Yank. She's never going to be the Queen of England.
No, she's never. I look. I don't. To be fair, I out of sheer interest, you wasted an Audible credit on his book,
Oh,
and
did you really?
I had to stop. I
That
got
bad,
three
huh?
chapters into it, and he was complaining about being rich while I was going through a particular financial hardship, and I was like,
Yeah.
I can't do this. I can't. He was like, and I was staying at the marble. We had marble things, and I was in a slightly less comfortable bed or something. It was something stupid like that. It was just not. It was a problem that wasn't. It's the same reason why I couldn't get into the Crown, because their problems were so insignificant to me. Like there was like they don't know what real problems are because they're rich and
Because
out of touch.
okay, well, I guess as far as a monarch can, I feel like Elizabeth at least had a clue in the early days. Maybe not later. Maybe not
Yeah.
later. I mean, she did. I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. She did not in a combat role, but she did participate in the war effort directly, like with her.
Yeah, she had her
So
moments of badassery.
yeah. So I
That's for
mean,
sure.
I more so than probably Charles. I'll say that probably more so than Charles. She had at least a clue,
He was the
but
boy who would be king.
very much so. But what was I going to say? So yeah, so it really was South Park pretty much got it right. It's like we're talking about your book. Wah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Wham. Yeah.
We want
Well, my
privacy.
thing with that episode was it was months late. Like they were so behind on that one. Like, but to be fair, TikTok is so fast. They were doing jokes. I saw people doing on TikTok months prior.
To be fair, in defense of South Park, I don't think that was so much the book. They made a joke about the book because it was out there. I think it was literally them doing the Netflix documentary and then being like, "We just want privacy."
Yeah, I
That
was
part had
supposed
been
to be making
fairly
fun of that.
recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just that episode just I actually skipped ahead to watch that particular episode. It is, guys, like if you don't watch South Park,
To
get
be
over
fair,
yourself.
though, I think they've got Gen Z. Well, this is my personal theory, is that they've got Gen Z writers that tell them the stuff because there's certain episodes where it's like that meme where it's Steve Buscemi where it's like, "Hey, you kids." Yeah, hey, fella. It's like that. Like they did a couple of TikTok episodes that were embarrassing,
Yeah,
where it was like these guys but my favorite one was when they did Andrew Tate, and they clearly had only done a brief Google search about
yeah.
what he looked like and relatively, but didn't bother to approximate his voice or anything about him. They just knew him on a surface level
No,
as
but
someone they should make fun of,
South Park
which I thought
doesn't
was funny.
really South Park doesn't really approximate voices though.
No, but even more so, it was like very clear they didn't know who he was. They just kind of did a quick Google search. I
Yeah,
thought those to me are the funnier moments where it's like
that
they
would
clearly don't know who Andrew Tate is.
that was a funny episode though. That
I'm,
was.
I'm a guy who I like Tag Rudy Randy, so I'm gonna go into the minority. He's got some funny lines, and my favorite in the newer one is where he was the Karen. That was funny. Or my other favorite one was I think it was one of the more recent ones where Trey Parker now has a teenage daughter, and there's a lot of moments between Shelly and Randy where it's like Trey Parker's clearly going through a thing with his teenage daughter.
Clearly. Yeah, and it's
Made me
funny.
laugh.
It's fun. But yeah, the comedy's very different, and I finally understand because I'm doing a full watch of South Park from the beginning. So I'm in episodes that I have never seen before, and
Oh yeah.
I get it's when they started doing the what was it's when they started doing like the long linear storylines that connect.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean that's by season 9 or 10. I think it's sort of when they're starting because that's when like the Warcraft episode is happening. I think
Oh no,
Imagination
oh
lands in
no,
and around there.
no, I'm talking about when the whole season has an arc. I think it's like it's not
Oh
20.
oh
I think it
yeah, yeah. The
starts
one
in
they
like
got fucked by
16.
Trump winning.
No, I'm not quite there yet, but it was when they first started doing it like I've dubbed it like the Whole Foods saga.
Oh right, yeah, yeah. The one where it's Soda Sopa.
Soda Sopa.
And
Yes,
and
yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, they called that serialization light is what they called that. Yeah, yes, yes,
Yeah,
I remember that season.
serialization. Yes. I can see why people did because there's like the Black Friday trilogy was hilarious. I
The Black
loved
Friday
that.
trilogy was good.
But then after that, like some of the episodes are funny because like I enjoyed Tweak X Craig way more than I thought I was going to.
I enjoy it because I'm chronically online and I just understand that
That's
and
why
also I have
that's why
friends.
it's
Yeah.
so funny. Like I just love the fact the whole running gag about Randy not like so the Japanese decide who's gay, son.
I mean, of the new my favorite bit from the newer stuff is always going to be Staten explaining dopamine regulation to Stan. 'Cause they use
Oh,
that as a
yes.
go-to
Yes.
on
That
it
is
like
so
because
yeah, when they do the that episode was really funny when they're talking what do they call it?
the
Like
Canadian
pay
Satan
yeah, yeah.
the premium games.
Canadians say that'd be rolling, dude.
Yeah, yeah. That bit to me is funny. It's because it's my theory. I think I don't want to speculate, but I think that one of them either was, and I heard something about Trey Parker having an issue with drinking. I think he might have been an alcoholic because there's a kind of an arc through those episodes where the first time they bring up having a drinking problem, it's a it's the episode where Stan gets told that he has an addiction and he winds up in the wheelchair no, not Stan, Randy, and then by the end of the episode, Stan's like, haven't you just tried not drinking, Dad?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like that's not really how addiction works, and you can't really just do. And then by the time they hit the Satan explains, it's like, oh, clearly someone has been through this and they understand a bit more. And they've done the work. As that and apologizing to Al Gore, where it was like, yeah, clearly they realized they were wrong about this over the.
But I'm proud of them for not abandoning the joke as a whole, because it's a
Actually,
great joke. It's a
I mean,
great
it
running
is.
gag.
My favorite is when it turned out he's real, and then he's like when they just straight up did the scene from the Incredible Hulk, which was funny.
But no, to go back to the Satan explaining dopamine, I just love how after he gives him that lecture, he's like, "So what's giving you trouble?" And then he looks at the phone, and he's like, "Oh, god damn it! This is just." He's like, "Drugs are one thing. This is just evil."
Shit's just evil. And then they went on to make their own freemium game, which I
I
thought was even
know
funnier.
that's great, and I know some people were like mad about it, and I'm like, guys, that's the joke.
It was pretty shameless.
It's like, come on,
Hey, you got to
guys.
get that Casa Bonita money somehow.
Speaking of which, I've always said when this podcast network really takes off, which help us out, watch our older episodes so we can get monetized. We need that watch time up. That's the only thing we need. We need to get the watch time up. But I'm gonna take all the podcast hosts out to Casa Bonita when we're filthy
Always want to go to
fucking
Casa
rich.
Bonita.
Why wouldn't we? And we'll take pictures and everything. We'll have a grand old time. We might even live stream the motherfucker if they let us. Anyway,
I do want to watch the documentary about the making of it. I quite enjoyed it. Like, if
I'm
you like documentaries,
halfway.
I quite enjoyed 6 Days to Air.
Oh, that's a great one. I'm halfway through the Casa Bonita documentary.
Oh, is it good?
It's surprisingly good considering the subject matter. Like, it's a legit
Oh,
documentary. But speaking of money, here's another word from one of our fantastic sponsors, just in time for the 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July from
and
Stevie
Henry.
Wicks. Celebrate Independence Day with our Americana candle collection featuring red, white, blue, and red, white, and blue layered candles. We wish everyone a safe and happy holiday.
Yeah, I remember your Canada Day special. But yes,
And then we
use
just. Oh,
use promo code AIP. Or I'm sorry, hang on. What promo code do I have listed? USA. Use promo code USA to save 10% off your Americana candles all the way up until July 4th. You can get them. So do
show
that.
your patriotism. Everyone's feeling a little extra patriotic right now.
Not really. This is nothing compared to 9/11.
No,
I
I just meant
wow.
a lot of
I
countries are
should.
feeling. My country is feeling kind of patriotic.
Yeah, that's true. You guys are kind of going through a period of anti-Trumpism that's making you come
I,
together as Canadians.
I will say my favorite moment from the G7, yeah, the G7 conference was when Mark Carney and Trump started to go into a spiel, and Mark Carney was like, "Nope." That was really
Well, yeah,
funny.
but you say that, but they just had the NATO summit where everybody agreed to start paying 5% of their GDP into NATO.
The funniest part, see, this is where I show that I'm not leftist because when the one guy called Trump daddy and it clearly made Trump uncomfortable, that was funny. That was funny. I enjoyed that. That was funny.
Good
That was
stuff.
funny.
Good stuff. But yeah,
I yeah. My thing with everything is always like what happens in the future because like everything Trump is doing, to me anyway, in my estimation, feels decidedly short term in terms of its thought process of like they just all seem. I've seen a couple of Republicans be like, "Look, the writing's on the wall. The people hate us. We're gonna lose the House in the midterms."
you
Like
got
I've seen a lot
they
of really
might they
sad
might
and
lose they
defeated looking
might lose
Republicans admit that.
they might lose both.
You
I think
think
they're going to
both?
lose. I think
Wow.
they're going to lose. They're certainly going to lose the Senate.
See, I mean, we've talked about my career. I really, you think I think they have a better chance of keeping the Senate than the House, but you think they might lose both? That's wild to me.
Oh, I'd be surprised if the Republicans got to hang on to one of them because here's the thing: some of the shit they're doing is unpopular with Republicans.
It,
Not
it
all
real well.
Republicans, but
I mean, I've seen a mega split. I've seen the mega split. And I just, but to be fair, I never thought that Meg. I mean, we've talked about how I don't think Meg is sustainable. Jordan thinks I'm crazy.
it's
Jordan,
not.
my co-host, he thinks I'm nuts. He thinks that MAGA will, and I've seen a lot of leftists echo the sentiment of they think JD's going to be President JD Vance, and he's the next guy, and
JD,
MAGA
but
will
here,
continue on
but
post-Trump.
but JD doesn't even believe in MAGA like Trump does. MAGA only works because Trump is there. Nobody, and like I'm giving credit where credit's due. Nobody else in the Republican Party has the same kind of backbone to make that work. Like nobody else has the balls to get on stage and say the Trump did.
I
Just
think
unfiltered.
Trump keeps them safe because I
Yeah.
think all of this, like them saying the bullshit, like or them like get like JD Vance getting on stage and flipping the world off, all that political decorum, I think it's gonna come crashing back the moment Donald Trump goes away.
It will. It will. Well,
I just do.
well, okay. So I'm trying to think of
Maybe
the
I'm crazy.
best.
Maybe that's
No, no,
centrist of
no.
me.
I think you're absolutely right. Um, how do I say this? JD Vance is the kid that talks tough, but he's talking tough to the kid that actually has boxed for like 6 years. And it's just
Yeah.
like he's just like, "Oh, yeah, that's
Did
cool,
did
I
you
guess."
watch did you watch Boy Meets World growing
Yes.
up? Frankie Stakino?
Yes.
JD Vance is Joey the Rat.
Yes. Yep.
That's who he is. Like I just believe that all of these weirdos and like all the people that surround Trump, I just don't think without Trump, I don't think they have anything. But
No.
yeah, it just seems like the left or even regular people are just kind of tired and exhausted. And I think that sentiment will carry your country forward. I don't know. I've seen a lot of right leading people be like woke is dead when Donald Trump got elected. They're like woke is dead, woke is dead. But yet New York is about to elect a Muslim socialist. Like just the fact that he's Muslim in New York. If you
No,
went back
I don't have an issue
20
with the
years and like
Muslim part. I have an issue with the socialist part.
no, I don't have an
But
issue with the Muslim part. What I'm saying is if you had gone back to 2001
oh,
post not post you
yeah,
would have been
but
like you would be like in
that's
20 years from now.
no, in 20 years I could see that because even which I was
Oh, okay,
actually
hey, fair
proud.
enough. You're the American.
Well, and granted, I'm odd because I remember, and I was actually very proud of myself for this because in 2001, how old was I in 2001? Like 12 or 13?
I was
And
11.
yeah, so I think I would have been 13. When 9/11 happened, the first thing I did, because like I had heard the word Muslim in passing, but I didn't know what it was. So the first thing I did was I got out the old encyclopedia because that was
Oh,
back when we had
yeah.
physical books to look shit up. Um, and I researched what Islam was. I found out about the Quran. I researched it, and the whole time, coming out of my cocoon of research, I was like, well, these guys are clearly not like this is not Islam as a whole. This is
Yeah.
just some fucking yahoos that could have very easily been another group of radical pick your poison, you know?
See, my the gentleman my mom was seeing at the time was Lebanese, or at least he looked
Hmm.
Lebanese, and so he got hassled big time coming into your country for a number of years after
Oh,
that.
I
So
can see that.
that's why I'm like but no, the socialist part is that is also wild to me. The fact that he beat Andrew Cuomo is nuts.
See,
That's
I'm not
nuts.
surprised. I'm not surprised he beat Andrew Cuomo because Andrew Cuomo got caught lying, and
He sucks.
Andrew Cuomo was probably responsible for the vast majority of at least elderly deaths in New York City during COVID.
Yep. Also the credible, I think he had credible sexual harassment allegations against him
Yeah,
as well.
and then
He
he covered for
sucks.
it, and then he covered for his brother. Like,
Um,
or no, I'm sorry,
I,
his
I,
brother covered for him. I got that wrong.
yeah, yeah. I just think that like you're gonna see that kind of weird overcreate. To be fair, as a filthy socialist, I'm perfectly okay with New York having a socialist, but I just think that you're gonna see um more center left. I think your country will push more center left. I think it's pushed too far right and it will correct. But I
I'm
don't think it's going
hoping
to correct
that's
as far as yeah. I think you're going to see normal people be politicians instead of
I I think
crazy
so.
millionaire people.
I think so because the only frustrating thing that I'm seeing is now because everybody's attacking Trump and most of the time rightfully so, but it's like, guys, that doesn't mean Biden was good. Like
No,
everybody
no, it
sucks.
doesn't.
Like
But like, and this happens here where it's funny. We talk Trump derangement syndrome, Justin Trudeau derangement syndrome was just a thing where like you'd be like, yeah, I know, I just because I have slightly positive things to say about a guy doesn't automatically mean I support him. I can still be critical of him. Like you could be allowed to be critical of like you should be critical of your leaders.
you absolutely should. But it's I wanted to say this so before I forget about the New York mayor. There's two things I want to say. First of all, really in the scheme of things, I really don't give a shit. I don't live in New York City.
I was
His
gonna say
his
you live quite a
his
ways away from there.
yeah, his things will not affect me at all in the immediate. However, this is a wonderful opportunity for some experimentation because we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. And I am humble enough to admit that hey, if he turns New York into this utopia, which he won't, but let's just say let's just say that somehow he does, great, let's roll it out nationally. I'm not opposed like if something fucking works and it's not
My
fundamentally and if it's not fundamentally unconstitutional, then let's fucking try it.
I'm in the camp of like I don't believe, and I'm not arrogant enough to suggest I have the ideas. I don't believe the ideal system exists yet. Like I think like that the ideal system is like an amalgamation of like yeah, socialism has its flaws, capitalism has its flaws, communism has its flaws. Maybe the ideal system is like a combination of
Well,
all of the
it
ideas.
is. We already have. I don't want to call it socialism because it's not the same thing, but like, which again, and I'm a dirty capitalist pig, right? But unchecked capitalism is very bad. We look
Yeah.
at look at the Ferengi. That's capitalism on steroids for all you Star Trek fans out there. Because in the United States, we have social safety nets.
Yeah, you
And
do. Yeah, you do have
and
socialist policies. People don't want to admit that, but you do.
I like to call them social policies. But yes, we do have social safety nets. I just don't like that word. I throw up a little bit in my mouth whenever I say socialism. but but no, we do have and like things like definitionally things like a police department, fire department, public
Yeah,
roads, all these public things, publicly funded things are social programs.
yeah.
So you really can't say that you're against any social welfare because I don't know about you. I like the idea of being able to call the police when I need them and not having to pay for it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. I like to be able to call 911 when my house is on fire and they come and put it out for me and I don't get a bill.
I
That's pretty
I
awesome.
was when I was thinking about being on here today, I was thinking about this. To me, look at me and my mother got into this once where I said I don't trust the government, and my mom was like, well, you should trust your government." No, you should. Every person on this planet should have a healthy distrust of their government. Your government is a tool and a resource. The government is not your friend. The
Well,
government should not be your friend.
yeah.
They should never be your friend.
Well, your government is also made up of people, and people can have different motivations and different reactions. So, like,
Exactly.
like I guess here's the thing: like, do I trust police as an institution? Yes. Do I trust every single police officer that's out there? Not necessarily.
No. I know. Yeah, I don't
It
trust the intention
depends.
of every person I meet inherently. No, you should. You should, like I say, not a paranoid, delusional distrust, but like a healthy skepticism when it comes to things. When you're like, when the government's like, I'm going to give you free money, is there a catch to this free
There's always a
money?
catch to
What is
free
it?
money.
Exactly,
Well,
right?
so here's the thing. There's a catch to police and fire. It's called taxes. It just so happens that the
Exactly.
benefit outweighs the cost.
Exactly.
Immensely, right? And but it's like the same thing. You know, people say stupid people say things like, "Well, you know, why wouldn't you consent to a search of a vehicle?" It's like
Well, you never
because
do that.
yeah, just I mean, first of all, that's your constitutional right that unless they have a warrant or probable cause that can be demonstrated in front of a judge, they'll get in trouble for it if they don't. No, do not consent to a search ever. It doesn't
My
matter
12th
if you have
grade law
anything.
teacher was like, make them work for it.
Yeah,
That's their job. Make them work for it. Make
yeah.
them earn their paycheck.
Because here's the thing, if they have legitimate probable cause, they will search your vehicle. So if they're asking you, then they can't without your permission.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
because if they have legitimate probable cause, they'll just do it, right?
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And then if you don't
Um,
think they had probable cause, you can argue in court. But like, yeah, that's
um,
the thing.
but in regards to the socialist New York mayor, um, I'm with you in the like, hey, test kitchen, let's test this, let's see what works, what doesn't work kind of person. But it's like and I made a TikTok about this today where I'm like, this is the reason why many ideological reasons, but one of the main reasons why I will never be able to be on the right side on things is because like yeah, when they say stuff like an anarchist socialist, which is what Charlie Kirk and Matt Walsh said, and they were like, and he's only been a U.S. citizen for seven. No, I think it depending on which one of their pages you follow was either 6 or 7 years. And I'm like,
So what?
but is it? Yeah. So exactly. So what? He's a citizen. What is it? Is that not the
If he
goal
meets
here?
the criteria to run for mayor, who gives a fuck?
Exactly. Right. That's my thing. It's like,
Like,
what does it? I thought the goal here was to be. I thought you guys didn't care about them as long as they were legal. But apparently, he's not legal enough.
it was never about being legal. But actually, you reminded me what I lost my train when I brought up the Jordan Peterson video. This was going to say, yeah, that it is an oxymoron. Just like when I think it was Parker actually who said he was an agnostic atheist.
Oh well. I mean, yeah. I I I flip flop on being agnostic and atheist. To be fair, to that like it's
Right.
like
But you can
I'm like
like, and I googled it to check, and there are some people who say it's a valid term, but I'm like, but getting into the semantics here, I don't, I'm not, and I'm not the only one who's in the camp of that's an oxymoron, because like it's they're
yeah, I
you
border it
cannot
because I
simultaneously.
if you were to sort of provide me empirical evidence that it does exist, I would probably believe it. But I'm going to be skeptical, and there are
Sure,
just certain moral quandaries I have with the existence of such a being.
sure. But I guess this was the point I was trying to make, is like, if you're not sure, or like, let's say that you identify as an atheist, but really your problem is don't you just don't have solid enough evidence, then even though you identify as an atheist, you would be definitionally more of an agnostic.
Yeah,
You know, because
yeah.
people get people and this, because we gotta piss everybody off. Let's bring it to the trans. I'm just kidding. Because like, you can think whatever you want about yourself. That doesn't make it true. Like, you might think you can make it in the NBA. Um, you
No, yeah.
probably can't. You know,
I don't think I could.
no, no. I would not last 2 seconds. I wouldn't last in the WNBA, man. Like, I'd
I
get
mean,
creamed out there.
it was fun. I cracked a joke about the WNBA, and Jordan was like, "Oh, I don't think you could say that." I said, "Nobody watches the WNBA."
That's the
Like it was
joke,
a really
by the
funny
way.
bit.
Although they apparently do because of Indiana now. Caitlin Clark apparently is really making waves. I've not seen the waves because
To
I
be
don't
fair,
watch the
I don't
WNBA.
watch the NBA. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I
was gonna
don't
say I
watch
don't
the
watch the.
NBA.
It's funny, you can't call me sexist because I don't watch the NBA either.
No.
The only reason I know the names of these players is because they are talked about online.
Yeah,
If I hadn't, like, the only reason I know who Angel Reese is because of all the TikToks and the fact that she had a McDonald's meal for a minute there.
oh yeah, yeah. I haven't watched an NBA game that I could think of since I watched. This is a local reference from where I'm from, but a team called the Vancouver Grizzlies, who were the worst team in the league. Well, sorry, they would have been the worst team in the league, but they won the game that would have got them the honor of being the worst league the worst team in the league. So they couldn't even do that right.
Are they in the NBA?
They are. I think they were bought. I think they still are. I don't know which city they are in anymore, but yeah, they got bought out years ago.
I thought the only Canadian NBA team was the Toronto Raptors, but I mean,
Yes,
I
currently
was gonna
they're the
say, like,
only.
I don't follow basketball, so I couldn't tell you.
I was like a kid, like 6 or 7, so it was a long time ago. Because
Speaking
I'm
of
over years old.
speaking of Canada, did you enjoy the video I sent? I forget what movie it was, but it was I think it was Wolverine if yeah, it was Wolverine if Wolverine had an Alberta accent.
Yes, I did enjoy that. That was funny. Oh, Alberta. Alberta, you're a mess.
That was great. And speaking
I
of
did
Canada
enjoy that.
also, I don't know if you watched the old weekly wrestling wrap-up episodes, but and I forgot about this, but tomorrow's episode that I'm uploading introduces our first appearance of the Canadian brothers. So
That's
you're gonna
actually it's funny. I almost messaged you last night because Jordan's watching G.I. Joe and Sergeant Slaughter popped up, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
is that he looks just like the professional wrestler? Is that the professional wrestler?" And I needed to know, and I was like, "Yeah, it is. It is they're apparently based on each other, but the one in GI Joe is not a professional wrestler. So they're not
Correct.
specifically the same character, but they are based on each. It was
It's
wild.
so
Like,
it's
all
kind
right, what's something new?
it's just like Jushin Thunder Liger. Is they're the same
Not familiar.
person. They're the same person, but they're not the same person.
Yeah,
So
he's voiced by the same guy. He has characteristics of the guy, but he is not specifically the same character.
no, I can't. I think the anime came first,
Did
and then
it?
yeah, I think I'd have to look that up.
That's
But
amazing.
it's a real chicken or the egg. Except we know the answer. I just can't remember it. I want to say the anime was first, and then New Japan created a wrestler
That's
with the
amazing.
mask and gimmick. Yeah, it's now as opposed to Tiger Mask, where the wrestler came first and then the anime came.
That's so fun. I know that at a certain point, yeah, I know that Kiniku Man was an actual wrestler in Japan for a while. God, Japan's a
But I
weird
think,
country.
but I think that was based on the manga.
Was it? Oh
I
yeah.
think I'm not sure.
I
I'm
need
not
to know.
sure.
Pulled up Wikipedia. I was like, is this Sergeant Slaughter the same? It looks just like him. It blew my mind. I was like, oh, I don't. Yeah, Jordan did a. I did not grow up with GI Joe.
Well, you'll get a kick out of. I think it's Dan Severn that's in Godzilla Final Wars, just randomly.
Is he hex? I haven't
Yeah,
seen Godzilla Final Wars in years.
yeah,
It's been a while.
yeah. I believe that's Dan Severn. It's a UFC guy, early
That's
UFC though,
funny.
like early
Oh
UFC.
yeah, I recognize the name. I was really into UFC for a while there, like really into it.
Yeah, I think he and Ken Shamrock fought at like UFC 6 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It was one of the early ones.
I mean, yeah, I got in right around the time of Brock Lesnar. He's my
Oh, okay,
my.
yeah, you're yeah, but you've seen UFC 1, right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Dude,
UFC one is hilarious.
it's UFC 1 is I'll be honest, like it's it's great that mixed martial arts has become so like it's its own style basically now. Um
Yeah,
but man, the Wild West early days
I
was
mean, to me,
so
the,
much
the
more
UFC one's
entertaining.
good, but it's like two, three, and four when they were like, you know what?
This is
This
true.
is a circus where you have
Yeah.
to like with the nut. Oh my god, yeah, it's brutal, brutal shit.
Yeah, that's true. UFC 2 is really something. But
Yeah, that
you
that
just can't beat UFC 1 in the first fight the guy kicks him in the face and his tooth goes flying.
yeah,
It's just you
yeah.
can't beat
I
that.
think I've seen it was Big John McCarthy, and where it was like, yeah, in that moment we didn't know what to do. It was like,
You're like, "Oh
or
shit."
my other favorite is the Hoist Gracie with the boxer with the one glove because it makes me think of that scene from Rocky 3 where it's Hulk Hogan
Yeah,
versus Rocky.
old Thunder Lips. Yeah, that's
Old
good
Thunder
shit.
Lips. I don't know what to do. Cut off my gloves. So good. I was
Um
actually, it's funny when I was watching you guys on Toon Talk and you randomly brought up Kevin Smith and it was like, whoa,
I
my
know
brain is on Kevin Smith.
that was serendipitous, wasn't it? I did not see that you had posted that video about chasing Amy until after that podcast. So that
That's
was
so
organic.
funny.
That was
I was
organic.
like, I feel like I've seen you talk about Jersey Girl on a podcast before. Because I was like,
Yeah,
because I watched it, I was like, this movie's good. I don't know why
I
everyone's so
know.
mean to it.
No, and I'll tell you how good this movie is. So I showed it. I've been talking about it because I'd always liked the movie. I always thought it was really cute. Like
It is
and
really cute.
not in a bad way. Like it's just a cute little movie. It's not trying to be grand or like I wish they'd make more movies like that. Um, but like it's just a cute little movie that just
George
delivers.
Carlin is surprisingly good in it. Like,
Yeah,
I was taught, but like, even Kevin Smith makes fun of how bad that movie is, and I'm like, but
you know what that is?
it's
That's because
a pretty good movie.
because Kevin Smith is a very insecure individual. I think he would agree. And
A little bit.
that movie got a lot of hate because it wasn't, as his fans would say, it wasn't just an hour and a half of dick and fart jokes. It was
Yeah, it
just
wasn't Snoochie Booches.
it's a real movie. And I don't think people were expecting Kevin Smith to make a real movie. So
No,
it got a lot of hate, but it shouldn't have. It shouldn't have.
I think also it comes off the back. You said it yesterday, but of Geely comes off the back of Geely.
Yeah, that's true. But the reason I was bringing it up is because I'd randomly, like, my I when my fiance and I watch a movie together, our options are limited because it has to be available with Spanish subtitles, right? So that usually means Netflix, and I'm just going through Netflix. And I'm like, oh shit, Jersey Girl. I'm like, this is a really cute movie. You'll like it, bro. She cried.
I mean, it's sad. It has a real weird tone problem where it's like all of a sudden it's real sad. You're like, whoa, this got sad. His filmography is fascinating. That was one thing
It really is, especially his early, the later stuff, not so much. But
I could go on how I love Clarks. I mean, yes, I watched Yoga Hosers. That movie was terrible. But the one that's he says it's his best movie, and I think he's wrong, is Red State. I watched a video where he said it was his best movie, and I was like,
I've not seen it, but I want to. It seems interesting.
"Hit, okay. Are you familiar with the Waco disaster?"
Oh yeah. I know that
Then
it's in a similar vein. That's why
yeah, the
it
second
seems
half of it
interesting to
just
me.
becomes a take on the Waco disaster. It's very strange. It's very strange. It starts off with, I will say, the guy who plays he's the Fred Phelps character. I forget his name. He was also in Tusk. He's quite good.
I know. I know
I
who you're
was,
talking about.
I forget his name. Have you seen Tusk?
I've seen parts of Tusk.
I actually quite enjoyed that movie.
My only problem
But
with Tusk is like, why is he in a zoo at the end? Like, surely this can be undone.
because he's rejected his humanity and accepts that he's now a walrus.
But he doesn't because he's sad at the end.
Yeah, it's meant to be ambiguous because Kevin Smith thought at the time. Kevin Smith smoked a lot of weed and thought he was clever at the time.
This is
I mean,
true.
I'm still waiting for Moose Jaws, which I looked up. Apparently, he's still gonna make it one
Although
day.
the origin story of Tusk is very fascinating, which I'm not going to tell you here because that is something you need to go watch the Spur of the Moment podcast for if you like conversations like this, which I'm going to wrap this up and end with a trailer for the Spur of the Moment podcast, both for appreciation and because we're rambling the way we normally end up going and just talking about movies and pop culture.
That's for Saturday.
That's for Saturday, yes. But was that your most recent episode? Was the Kevin Smith one?
Yeah,
Or was
it was
yeah,
actually. That was last week's, yeah.
So yeah, you can visit, and the link is in the description to his profile. You should go there, especially if you like Kevin Smith
all of our
movies.
Kevin Smith videos are like broken up into nifty little videos. The Tusk one in particular is its own video, so you don't even have to watch the full 4-hour podcast.
But you should because it's
should.
It's a rip-roaring good time. But here is just a taste of what you will get from the Spur of the Moment podcast.
So today's episode is sponsored by the Spur of the Moment podcast, everybody. Come join us every Saturday. We're going to do this. We're going to sit here. We're going to talk about the news. Time to talk about the Minecraft trailer.
Okay.
It looks bad. We're going to talk about movies. That new Joker movie is apparently terrible, and I want to see it so badly because I hear it's awful. We're going to make some jokes. We're going to have some laughs.
There's a lot of funny jokes in there. There's a lot of weird jokes in there. The Channing Tatum one will always make me laugh. Especially when you hear the behind the scenes stuff, like when you hear the behind the scenes story of how they just phoned them up.
We're occasionally going to have other people along for the ride.
A really fun fact though is I learned last year that that Coraline was Leica and not Disney.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I can see why you would make that mistake. Yeah. Because it does seem like it's a different. And to be fair,
that would be a horrifying, terrible Disney movie.
It would be because yeah. And we're just gonna have a generally good time. Dora, do you have anything else you want to say about our podcast? Make people watch it.
We watch movies. Sometimes we watch shows, but we always have fun.
Here.
On the spur. On the spur. 3, 2, 1. On the spur of the podcast moment.
Yeah, we nailed it. Nailed the
podcast.
Yeah. It's Spur of the Moment podcast every Saturday. We nailed it.
You can expect awesome content like that.
We cut flawless promos every single week.